Good evening.
Okay. Where's our,
I just asked if he was in Enzo.
where's our? Are you our? I gotta turn this down.
I'm the clerk for the evening.
Yours?
Mine's me.
That's your computer is not me.
Oh,
Let me just.
okay.
Just minimize. Just minimize.
There's a volume here. I think. Okay, better? Okay. Hi, Craig. Nice to see you.
Good evening.
I don't think, we don't need a resolution for you to start the meeting.
It's a delegation from the clerk, so council doesn't have to pass a resolution. It's something that's been delegated tonight.
Okay, great, thanks. We don't have a resolution anyway, so. Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. Approval of agenda. Mover,
Yes.
Eugene, Councilor Caputo, and Councilor Matthews second.
Be it resolved that this council hereby approves the agenda for April 12th, 2022, and any addendum as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Just, I'll sign them later. Just put carried and you're gonna mark the carried on there. Carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest?
Your worship, there was one received and it's noted in the minutes or on the agenda. It's been noted from Councillor Matthews.
Okay, I have that. Okay. Minutes of the previous meeting. I need a mover.
Aye.
Humble seconder. Chambers move.
Be it resolved that this council hereby approves the minutes of the regular meeting of March 8th, 2022, and the special meetings of March 2nd and March 22nd, 2022 as presented.
Favor? Carried. Corrected information or amendments? Nothing? Okay. We have the delegations, we have two letters from residents that want to be talked on. Do we put them here and under delegations? The questions answered on the. It's
Right
down
now,
bottom.
they're under staff reports under complaints to be answered by council.
Okay, yeah. Do we answer them there, I guess, eh?
Yes.
Staff reports, fire chief report. Mover,
I'll move that.
read the resolution. Rick, you read the resolution? Oh, moved by who? Moved by who?
I have it moved by Plumbo and Chambers.
Moved by Councilor Plumble, seconded by Councilor Chambers.
Be it resolved that this council hereby accepts the fire chief report as presented.
Any questions on this or to councilors? You want to talk? Are you there, Steve? No, so no questions? All in favor of the report?
Aye.
Carried. Road report, none available. CEO clerk's treasury report, revenue and expenditures report from February 22nd, February 2022. Mover? Council
move that.
Chambers. Seconder, Council Plumble.
Be it resolved that this council hereby accepts the March revenue report in the amount of $275,426.09 and the March expenditure report in the amount of $122,133.92 as presented.
Any questions? Here's the resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Carried. Proposed budget for discussion. Mover. Second, moved by Chambers, seconder. Council Caputo.
Be it resolved that this council accepts the budget presentation and intends to pass the bylaw on May 10th, 2022 to raise $1,601,947.59 with a tax rate of 1.00067%.
Anybody got any questions? That's in there.
You got that in there?
I changed that lattice this year.
Okay, good budget. I'm happy with it, so no questions, so all in favor? All in favor of the budget? Pass, carried.
Enzo. I didn't see if hand or say aye.
He did.
Nord's annual report,
One's leaning.
mover. So mover. Chambers, seconder.
I'll
I'll
second that.
cut down history. I'll
Council Plumble.
cut down history.
What do you say?
Looking for that one resolution.
Yeah. Why? Baseball. I can't resist this.
I don't have one written out, but it's be resolved that this council accepts the Nord's annual report and the project information form for March 31st, 2022.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Mr. Mayor,
Let's go ahead.
from you to Leanne, I just got a text that Peggy's still waiting to get entered in.
Oh.
Sorry.
Complaints should be answered by council, I guess, Gail Russell and Mary Moore, you want to come up, I guess. You want some answers to your questions or your letters?
What would you recommend? You go up there and
So,
you come up here and just, then you can just tell us.
yeah,
Excuse me.
Do you ladies have a copy of your letter, or would you like me to pull that out of here? So you-
I don't have a copy of it, but I get the general idea.
I guess we don't need a resolution on this one.
Yes, they're both on there.
You don't have a resolution on here, do you?
There is a resolution on this to receive the complaints, but not on the discussion.
Okay, I'll just, can I have a mover on this? Receive the complaint, mover?
I'll move that.
Council and, Council
Columbo.
Colombo second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carry. Okay. Does anybody want to answer any of these questions before I talk on it?
Can we read the question so that other people
Sure.
understand what
Go
we're
ahead.
talking about?
Mary Moore, you want to go first, or you?
Okay, do you want me to read the, what the reason for the complaint is?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Then I'll answer.
So this is an open council meeting to discuss the hiring of the new CAO was scheduled for March 21st, 2020. 2 hours before the meeting, it was canceled. A closed council meeting was scheduled for March 22nd. I was informed by a friend that this closed meeting was now an open meeting. I was able to attend the meeting just as it was about to begin. And then I just wanted to know why we weren't given accurate time, appropriate time to be able to come to the meeting. Because there would have been, I felt like there would have been more people who would have been interested and would have attended the meeting.
Okay, thanks. Okay, on your first thing where you had 2 hours notice that the meeting was canceled, I sent you an email on March 19th and told you that meeting was canceled. I don't know why it wasn't canceled. Error was why it wasn't canceled on our webpage, but I knew you were coming, so I sent you an email, or whoever I knew was coming.
Oh, I didn't receive an email that notifying that there was going to be an open meeting.
Oh,
I just
on
found,
that, that's my next question,
Oh, okay.
because you said it was 2 hours before the meeting was canceled. I'm just saying, I did send you an email telling you
oh,
the
yes,
meeting
you
was
did,
canceled.
yeah, but it wasn't on the site.
I know, and I apologize for that. I don't know why it wasn't. On the closed meeting, and it turned open, because that was decided at that meeting, that topic was going to be changed to an open meeting, not a closed meeting. So it wouldn't have been posted. It was posted that it was going to be a closed meeting, but at that council meeting, council decided to have that issue talked in an open meeting
At what council meeting?
on March
Oh,
the
the one
22nd.
before?
On March the 22nd.
Okay,
You're talking about that.
oh, yeah,
Yeah, that
okay,
wasn't posted, it was posted as closed by council on a resolution. Opened it. That's why you wouldn't get notice on that. I don't know if you understand. Yeah. Am I making
so you
sense?
guys,
to you?
yeah, so you decided the day before that it was going to be an open meeting.
No, it was going to be a closed meeting.
Oh, that,
That meeting was going to be a closed meeting on that part of hiring a CAO.
yes. but then-
Council decided to have an open meeting at that council. That's why it wasn't posted.
The day before.
No, at that meeting,
day,
at that meeting.
at that day of earlier on.
No, at that meeting, wherever time we started. When we opened the meeting up, council decided with a resolution to have that hiring a CAO at that meeting and open, not a closed meeting. So we talked on that topic in an open meeting. It was, so nobody would know about it going to be open unless they're at that meeting, because when that minutes came out, or meeting came out, it was a closed meeting. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Okay. On March the 22nd, we posted and advertised there was going to be a closed meeting on that topic.
Mhm.
At that meeting on March the 22nd, council decided and passed by resolution to have that part of the agenda an open meeting.
Okay, all right, so on the 22nd, when the meeting,
That's what meeting I'm talking about.
yes, on the 22nd, so then why was it open then?
Because council passed a resolution.
So then there were people here already waiting,
Right.
so then they.
We started as an open meeting. It was
Oh, you
never,
started as an open meeting.
we
Okay.
started as an open meeting, And we never, we did go into closed session, but that later on after we talked about that topic, which nothing was resolved.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, all means of council have to start in an open session. And then council decides whether or not to take matters into closed session as guided by the Municipal Act. So it's council's prerogative, except for one issue, whether to have the meeting in open or closed. But the topics that are being advertised are included in the notice, but all meetings start as an open meeting.
Do you have any more questions on there, or did that's it, eh?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, wait, and then it's about Zoom.
Zoom is, if we haven't got an operator to run Zoom, we're not mandated or by the
Mhm.
municipal act to have Zoom. But we have, we brought Leanne over and of course we pay overtime
Mhm.
for that, or on lieu overtime. So if we do have Zoom, then we have to have somebody over 5 hours extra. But council's not mandatory to have Zoom.
According to this, the electronic meetings, whether it's health and safety issues, to decide whether members of the public should not gather in the council chambers.
Right. If we can't have a gathering of the people because of health reasons or electric, then we can have a Zoom meeting. But we try to have a Zoom meeting.
You're going to try to have. Zoom
We
meetings
try
from
to
now on?
have Zoom meetings.
Okay,
I can't guarantee it every meeting, but I'm hoping the majority of meetings are gonna be Zoom.
okay.
Okay. Mrs. Russell?
I'm not a complaint, but I am a question,
Okay.
okay? And I'll read you what I sent you. It says, on February 17, 2022, Mary Lynn Duguay read from a report that she had prepared that all staffing concerns, repay and benefits could be resolved with a 0.001% tax increase. With council already aware from Peggy Greco's resignation letter and the early on concerns that staff morale was low, with these employees feeling underpaid and undervalued, I question why council that night, which was February 17, were not open to this. If council needed to verify this percentage raise, the Prince Township accountant could surely have done this. Hindsight is easy, but I'm sure our taxpayers are now paying lawyer fees, E4M, if I have that right, fees, and any other fees that may follow until this situation is resolved. Council, would it not be worth revisiting the budget and include the pay, wages, and benefits for this coming year? To me, the township would then be in a better place financially, and as important, your staff morale would be much improved.
Okay. I guess I can answer that one. Well,
I'd like everyone.
okay, I'll talk first. When we get, the budget was presented, first of all, over the years, every year, staff wants a raise, CAO always has a meeting or prior to our budget meeting. We always look at the raises and get full detail. Sometimes we don't get a raise, sometimes we do. So that's usually done before we sit down and do the budget. At that budget meeting, there was a raise on the wages for the 3 staff members was going to be $60,000 increase on the wages approximately. So, and that's all was given to us. It wasn't a breakdown of
It was given as a percentage.
it was given, no, the raise for the off staff was $60,000. But it wasn't given in a breakdown of how much everybody would be getting an hour more. Then that's what the council wanted. You know,
But
what's the
then why
breakdown?
wouldn't you have considered that and not just voted no?
Because it's a $60,000 raise.
It was 0.001%.
It was a $60,000 raise for office staff. You can't look at the budget because,
But
we would,
in that meeting, councilors agreed that you can't go back for what you've done for years if what you did for years wasn't correct. So if there was something wrong and they didn't have raises and there wasn't just pay, then why not consider it? I'm not saying pass it that night, but at least consider it and listen to their concerns.
Councilor Chambers?
Sure.
I do believe during the meeting, we had agreed to a 3% increase retroactive to the beginning of the year. At that meeting.
You went to an inflation, right? You
We-
talked
we-
about
we-
inflation,
we-
yes.
We agreed to a 3% increase, and we said the rest would be discussed, and we were gonna set the money aside in reserves until we got to examine it more.
Did that happen in open meeting,
Yes, yes.
that you said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in.
The money, in the budget, the money's in the
The
budget.
money's in the budget right now.
But there was a lot of things that had to be answered
Oh,
on,
no question,
and, but we,
which you should do, right?
but we,
Check out
So
your
we-
numbers.
So we put the money in reserves,
I think,
so we could get all the answers, right?
Well, if that's the case, to me, the morale of your staff should be way better if they feel that you have listened and have acted on that.
well, it should have listened, because council, at that meeting, council did put the money in reserve. We didn't say no, no, no. We put the money in for further discussion down the road. So, but we did give them a 3% raise.
I knew it was my turn. I was a big proponent for the raise. I wanted it to be 5%. I came out with the statement that the cost of living now is at almost 5 and it's not going down. And the women have been working at a certain rate of pay for so long and too long, and that we should bump it up. So then we discussed as a council, how much is gonna be too much, or how much is it to bring it up? And we came to the happy compromise that I didn't want to go 1%, or as Mary Ann said, 0.0093.1.
But that,
As what the mill rate
but
was
that
gonna be
included the
for our tax.
benefits for the on
It
too,
included everything.
Yes.
We were gonna get everything we wanted,
for that.
but that's the crux of it. I have to support council's vote. I won't even vote out of the 5. So I'm just saying, that's what happened. And we decided, to take the 3% and make that retroactive till January 1st. Mr. Mayor, please, if I'm wrong. Ian?
Yes.
January
Yeah,
1st.
yeah, that's always goes up.
And then we look at the other 2% for them after we pass the budget.
Where did you pick that number from?
3%?
Yes, 3 and 5. Where did you pick that from?
In another job, I do a lot of money managing, and I'm also on an executive of a union, and I follow COLA. And COLA is a big part of my other job that I have at another place. And COLA, from what we bargained for in our other past, it's not to do with the township, it was escalating to a rate. And here the women, the staff, excuse me, I can't say women, the staff was not given COLA raise for, I believe, a certain amount of years.
Wrong test.
I said, this is not 2009, this is 2022. And that I believe that we should, and that's what we discussed it. And we talked and people gave ideas, and I said I'd like 5, but I said I'm on 3, working on the next 2% for the staff after.
So my question would be again, if you didn't want to look at decimal 001 because you needed to discuss that aside, you came up that night with a number that just seemed to come out of wherever.
But
Because that 0.001% from sitting there as a taxpayer.
Yeah.
Looked to me like all of the issues with your staff would be addressed.
And they would get the 3% with a look at it, the 2% coming. And they would all be paid equally.
I'm
That's
just
right.
saying, but
Yeah.
on one hand, you look at a number and say we have to discuss us, and on the other hand, the number is 3 to 5, and let's pick one.
we didn't get enough, my opinion, we didn't get enough information on the big raise. Plus, on the budget, there wasn't the $200,000 in there for road work. And we had nothing going in there for reserve because we're buying a brand new truck and we have to put money back into reserve every year to pay for it. And there was no money going in there. Usually we put in around $100,000 in reserve. So none of that was in there. So that percentage,
But if you have 10 years of pay that wasn't correct,
but who knows it wasn't correct? That's
it appears.
your opinion.
It appeared.
And everybody's got their opinion, but a lot of, but there's a chart out there, we didn't get out there, which I was told the other day, that maybe with the names on it, of the township names and how much average every clerk makes. Maybe we need that, but it was a big raise with no information. We need information. You can't just give a $60,000 raise to 3 people in the office without information. That chart has no names on which township of, or how close to us, or nothing. We didn't have no information. You can't just take the tax, $60,000 from the taxpayers and just give it out. We have to report to the residents too.
I agree, but you also have to treat your staff as though they're human.
Well, last year we give a $3,000 or 3% raise last year and $1,000 for 2 employees in the office because of COVID. This year we give another 3%.
But I think what I heard was, you're not going by anything that's in writing. They couldn't find anything in writing
Well, it's,
to justify. I'm just saying, if you're running as a business, if you're running whatever, people would know when their raises would come and what they were entitled to.
but that doesn't work in municipalities. Every year the budget comes up and council figures out the raises. If you're looking at raises and went by the federal government or the Ontario government gave 1.1% to for all their employees, and Ontario government passed a bill 124, a 1% raise for all the Ontario employees.
For 1 year?
Well,
So we're going back 10 years.
no, this is for this year, but so we give a 3% raise, which is better than the federal government or better than the Ontario government.
I guess part of my point is, if people felt that they were listened to when they were presenting things, we may not be in a situation that we're in today. That is only my opinion,
Well,
okay?
we
don't need to discuss
Okay.
it, because it is only my opinion.
Do you have any more?
No, I'm good,
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Oh, Angelo, do you want to say anything on this?
No, other than I'm not going to reiterate what Councillor Caputo has already mentioned. I sided with Councillor Caputo. I do want to mention the fact that I was in support of the budget that was presented.
Is Councilor Matthews on there?
No, he has to, no, he's
Talk about that after.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you,
a conflict of interest. So.
not a problem. I just thought I like to hear his out.
Yeah, no, he's not on there. Okay. I guess proposed, where am I? Am I missing something? I guess not. I got the 7D budget figure. You don't need that. I guess we'll propose updates on user fees. Mover.
Move that.
Mover? No mover? Council Colombo, seconder? Seconder? No seconder on the proposed on,
With the marina.
we're talking about the proposed updates on user fees. Marina's user fees, all user fees. We need a second.
The pavilion, the hall, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, come up with,
And-
can we come up with numbers, Mr. Mayor?
there's a sheet. Are we just talking about the marina or are we talking about user fees?
Marina one is low.
Marina's down,
Is it 13.8?
For Marina.
but the user fee proposal, the list, we have a list. We didn't get a sheet on that. So.
My understanding was we just discussed the marina fees.
Marina fee is later in the agenda.
The user fee should be in your addendum packet.
Okay.
Does it start with dog tags, Mr. Mayor?
Probably.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we got it.
Oh, yes, okay. Thank you, Peggy.
You're welcome.
Give me time, I'm looking for it. Oh, here we go. Okay, user fees. I guess I put this on, I guess need a mover and a seconder, mover,
I'll move that.
Council Plumble,
I'll second it.
Council Caputo.
Questions?
Be it resolved that this council accepts the proposed updated user fees for Prince Township as presented.
Okay. We don't,
These were updated as,
Right.
we had a meeting on this not too long ago.
Yeah.
To see that the pavilion rentals and everything's been updated.
Exactly.
I don't think I don't think we passed the resolution.
No, it's been updated as our request.
Yeah.
And then we go to bartenders and the smart serve company there. So
Oh, what again? Council?
if you include, Mr. Mayor, sorry, if you include the banquet hall to rental for $200, you have to have a smart serve where we provide a bartender, but you have to include that as a user fee. Oh, for you asking.
If they want to use the bar, I guess that's supposed to be extra.
Okay,
But it's usually, if they want to use the bar, usually they gotta have recreation, they run it.
so you need a smart serve person there,
You need a smart
paid
serve.
or licensed to do it.
Yes.
Just question of point, I had a call from a constituent who rented the hall and was astonished at the price because it was not what she was quoted. That's all I'm asking for. And I said, probably because the bartender fees on there.
Well, she probably got quoted the prices on the old prices. They're up quite a bit.
Coming out of COVID, you can see that.
Yeah. My question is I know people complaining about the pricing and you want to keep them that high.
Also did a good.
Council Caputo? Oh, Caputo. Council Colombo? What go ahead, Peggy. Peggy, you're on mute.
I just wanted to let you know that the bartender fees is a separate issue. That's if they're using our liquor license, then they pay the $15 an hour for each of the bartenders. And it's not included in our user fee per se, because that's only if they're using our liquor license. Otherwise, they get the recreation to run it, or they get their own liquor license and they take care of their own bar. Does that make sense? Does that clarify?
Yeah, it makes a little good sense, yeah, thanks.
Mr. Mayor, through you, Peggy, does that take care of our insurance, Peggy? If they have no smart serve, they're bartending on their license? Or are they?
If they get their own liquor license, they have to have somebody with smart serve anyway to get the liquor license. So that all falls under them.
And the responsibility, I'm just looking about the
The
responsibility.
responsibility
and the
falls to them.
liability.
If the inspector comes in and they got their liquor license, they don't have a smart card, they get charged.
Thank you.
In your worship, you wouldn't have a bar being operated unless they also had their own insurance name in the municipality as additional insured. And typically with the special occasions permit, it's becoming really easy to get the insurance through a special occasion permit, but the important thing is that the municipality is insured.
Thank you.
Is everybody happy with the user fees, or do they think they're too high? You're okay, Council Colombo? You're okay with the user fees, or?
Yes, we should be. We've already agreed on them during our last.
Caputo? Council Caputo?
I'm good. I just had that question about the smart serve and the insurance, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Okay, you have a mover and a second on this to
I'll move it.
accept it?
I'll second.
Council Colombo and second is Council Caputo. All, You wanna read
yeah.
the-
I can read it again. Be it resolved that council accepts the proposed updated user fees for Prince Township as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carry. Planning public highway designation, minor variance. You the applicant? Who's the applicant?
I have, I have one for 1123 Town Line.
Town line?
Yeah.
That's it. We should have a mover and second on this first before we talk about it.
Yes.
Moved by Colombo, seconded by Caputo.
Hang on a second.
Be it resolved that this council approves minor variance application M1 2022, allowing for larger garage for personal use only.
We're not voting on it yet. We have to talk.
We'll talk about it.
No,
Is that what
understood.
you're? Yeah. Oh, I had somebody in the audience who. Okay. You wanna,
You wanna talk about Mr. Andrew Duoba? Did I
uh,
say that right? Is that you, sir?
Yeah.
Did I say last name? Sorry.
Hold on.
Duoba. I drove by your house, come to see you. I'm, Counselor Duoba, but I guess you were home. Did you wanna talk to your variance, Mr. Duoba?
you wanna sit in the hot seat or?
It's just a head table, sir. It's not a hot.
I don't know what to say. I'm here for a variance for my garage size, I guess, and, first part's gonna be for a motorhome, back part's for a mini bar for my wife. So it's just quite large, but I didn't want to do two separate buildings. I'd rather just do one. That's it, I guess. Any questions? I don't know.
You have the conservation authority reports. You wanna read the reports? Greg?
Conservation Authority report. It says subject property is located in an area under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Authority with regard to the development, interference with wetlands and alteration to shoreline watercourse, Ontario Regulation 17606. And any permit is required, or a permit is required prior to any site grading, excavating, filling, development, or construction. And also the subject property is located in an area under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Authority with regard to the Ontario Regulation 17606, development, interference with wetlands and alterations to shoreline and water courses. The proposed development is not within the regulated area. Of any further development on the subject property of 1123 Town Line Road will require site plan review and may require permit to the Sault Ste. Marie Region Conservation Authority, and the Sault Ste. Marie Region Conservation Authority requests a copy of the decision to be included on the contact list for any appeals resulting from a decision of this application. There's also received from the Stephen Turco of the Borealis Planning Services. Basically, the purpose of this report is to recommend minor variances facilitating the construction of an accessory building, being a garage. The property is located at 1123 Town Line, located on the west side of the road, approximately 530 meters north of Second Line. The property is approximately 7.3 hectares in size, with a frontage of approximately 43 meters and a depth of 527 meters. The subject property contains an existing residential dwelling currently under construction. The subject property is designated rural area residential in the Prince Township official plan. The proposed accessory building does not pose any conformity issues with the official plan. The subject property is zoned rural area residential. The bylaw prohibits accessory buildings larger than 112 meters squared in area and taller than 9 meters in height. The applicant has proposed an accessory building of 401.35 square meters and 9.144 meters in height. The rationale for this request is to allow the applicant to store a personal recreation vehicle and a tractor. Although the proposed accessory building greatly exceeds the requirements set out by the bylaw, Given the significant size of the property and the fact that the accessory building will be situated behind the main dwelling, it is the planner's opinion that the variance be approved. The accessory building will be well set back from the main road and will be visually buffered by the main dwelling. It should be noted that the proposed accessory building can only be used for personal uses only. Should the applicant wish to use the accessory building for any home-based business or agricultural uses, an application to amend the zoning bylaw would be required. Provincial policy 1.141, healthy, integrated, and viable rural areas should be supported by building upon rural character and leveraging rural amenities and assets. The proposed variances will be consistent with the rural area land use policies and zoning bylaw standards, and as such, will maintain the rural character of the area and township. Recommendation from the planner resolved that the report dated April 12, 2022 regarding application M1 2022 be accepted, and that the requested variances increasing the allowable size of the accessory building from 112 meters squared to 401.35 meters squared, and to increase the height from 9 meters to 9.144 meters be approved.
You got the two complaint letters?
So, how we doing?
Okay, you didn't get the complaint letters then?
I have two complaint letters here, but I thought you were asking complaints from the floor, but I can do complaint letters now.
Hang on, is the two people that are complaining?
Scott Bodger is here, and I'm looking for Mr. Chris Robbins.
Yeah.
Hi, Chris, how you doing? Welcome to the meeting tonight. Thank you both for taking time to come. Do they want to speak, or do you want to read the letters?
You want us to read the letters out, or you want read the letters and you want comments on it first, or whoever wants to talk first?
I can just speak, I guess, to mine.
Sure.
Yes, yeah. Actually, well, Andrew and I talked yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, so when I first got the application in the mail, to me, just the size of the building seemed, quite beyond what the bylaw says. And so at the time, I didn't understand what the purpose of the building was. So that was part of my question was so it seemed like a really excessive request. So I think I was talking to Andrew about the purpose of it. I'm much more comfortable with it now. And then part of my other concern was it was kind of unrelated, but also related just to the way the land had been used on the edge of my property, which we also talked about yesterday. Just about how I think you've done some work on my property that we need to talk about more. And so that was my main concern. I just didn't understand the whole situation. And so I didn't support it at the time, but I think after talking to Andrew yesterday, I'm okay with the purpose. But I would like to ask, just me not being solely familiar with the whole process. The bylaw as they exist was like the maximum size was I forgot what the size was. Number for a garage, right? And can someone give a brief explanation about like the rationale behind it? Like why that size limit? It is kind of small in the case he wants to build a barn. But yeah, someone to speak to that, just so I understand why that number is what it is.
That came quite a while, years ago, and it stops people from building big buildings and having commercial in it. If you allow a big building, like a lot of people are worried about this building being a commercial building, even if you say you sold down the road, they can make this building into a commercial building, and then the township, then you gotta go to court and and a big fight on your hand. It is a giant sized building. I think the small one next to it, garage, is 40 by 60, so which is 2,400 square feet. This is almost double that size. But that's why it comes in. They have. So if you want to build any bigger, because the size you have there is a normal garage, or maybe a little bit bigger. It used to be smaller. They increased that size, so that's the reason, because make sure we don't get commercial buildings built on resident property and have trouble down the road. would you like to talk on this?
Let's grab on. You wanna come to the front table? or you
No.
wanna do this?
I can talk from there. When they asked for that previous variance, I was against it because I've been writing letters to council ever since they started working. Because they built their property up, they tacked the clay in, so the water runs off. They sloped it all towards our property, so it all runs off into our property, and they didn't put a drainage ditch in. And according to the bylaws, they have to put a drainage ditch in, and they haven't done it yet. The other thing is they put a dirt bike track in, which is against the bylaws too, and it's still there. Council hasn't done a thing about any of this stuff. And I'm getting a little bit tired of being a victim.
Yeah, I've been to your house and,
Yeah, you did, and you didn't do anything about
well,
it.
no, I put the bylaw enforcement officer and he said that there was nothing you can do about it.
Well, why not? Because it's a bylaw that he's breaking.
He,
If he's breaking the bylaw, he's not obeying the laws. If he can break the bylaws, anybody in Prince Township can break the bylaws, and not have to do anything.
the biggest complaint on your property I get from majority of the neighbors is the water runoff.
Yeah, it's a big problem, but
I have,
once that dirt bike track gets started using by a boy that's a little bit bigger than the one now, if there's gonna be dust and noise too, and we don't want that.
I
Or even
have,
hear the one over by the airport.
Mhm.
So you can imagine what we can hear about one that's right on the other side of the fence.
You wanna comment on this now?
the dirt bike track,
Both.
it's just a BMX track for my little guy.
Yeah, but he's not gonna stay a little guy for the next 20 years.
Then I can go to Runway Park, which is just down the road.
Okay,
And that's not,
but yeah,
it's just moguls, it's 3, so.
you got respect for neighbors too, but what about a lot of the neighbors have a problem with the water problem.
I think I've only had one issue with the water. There's a form that I've been
It's
dropped
all in
off
my yard.
here that has every shot made from every corner of the house right down, showing that I'm not putting any water on her property.
That's not what I'm hearing, but,
You know,
Uh,
if you come and look in my yard.
yeah, I've been
you'll
there.
know it's not.
anybody else that would like to talk about it?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I got something to say to you. Well, I don't know, I wouldn't.
We're all
Yeah,
here for this.
We're all here for the same thing. Minor variance, this is not a minor variance. This is something extreme. This would be probably one of the largest garages in Prince Township. And 70 by 60, we're over 4,000 square feet, 4,200 square feet. This is massive. I do know the house, I'm not sure exactly how it's set up, as a duplex or something. I believe this is father-in-law. Father-in-law is a construction owner, is that not father-in-law? Okay, sorry. His father-in-law is a construction company owner, Bechtel Construction, or has some relations, whatever. They got this is a construction business that's gonna be moving in, and we wanna stop to it. Right, that's my word, and our perceived notion that's gonna happen in the future. Nobody needs a business or a building this big. If that's the case, they should be an industrial park. They should have went to Gooley, Equity, I don't know. This is not the place for it.
So to put light on that is my father doesn't own a business. He has 6 months left in his contract. GFL bought the business, so they have no ties to it. Yes, he still works there, but it's just like anyone else working a job.
Well,
So-
we see actual construction vehicles in and out there all the
Absolutely.
time.
My parents, my in-laws work, my in-laws,
Yeah.
they both work there, and the house is, I have an in-law suite with parents that live there. So there's 4 vehicles, there's gonna be a motor home, there's no attached garage, there's no, this is it. So it's kind of, I do this, and that was my, an all-in-one, and then I want to build a garage, a barn, another one. My plan is just to do it one shot.
So you're in the horses and stuff, right?
My wife,
Okay, Okay, anybody else have a comment?
When he said that no water was coming into our yard, can you explain what the pipe is that comes from his garage to our lot line? What's that for? Is that runoff from your basement?
There's a pipe that goes from my eavesdrops down to that swale, yes.
Yeah, right into our yard.
It's a swale.
Okay, you have a question back there?
Just, you touched on it earlier, again, regardless of the intent with the building as it stands, right? There's more of a question, as you mentioned, the variance is there to prohibit, industrial business going in, right? Or, like you said, or a change of ownership of the property and then a change in the use of that building. Is there anything to prohibit? Like, I have no issue with it as long as there's something in place that prohibits the use of that building as a storage for a business that, you never know what happens. Maybe you sell your home, somebody moves in and they think, great, I can store all of my construction equipment in that, start up at 6 a.m. and drive down the road. What prohibits that from happening in the future?
It's usually, when the agreement we agreed to, it's usually in there, right, Greg?
Yeah, and if you're, as the planner said in his report, if the use is going to be anything other than residential, then there would have to be an application for rezoning come before council. And again, all the residents within a certain area as governed by the Planning Act would get notified of the application to rezone. As well, there would also be a public forum where pros and cons can be discussed in front of council, and then prior to council making a decision on the rezoning.
Okay, so if say something happened down the road, the building sold, or there was a change in the intent for the use of that building, and it was different from what the original application stated, that wouldn't be allowed. Have to adhere to the original application.
Right, and it's all in the agreement with the will sign.
Right, okay, so then if a few years from now, it's noticed that there's a business operating out of that building, we would bring it up to council, and then that would not be allowed to continue.
That would not be allowed, no.
Okay.
Any other? Okay, go ahead.
I have one thing just about the size, like I know, Andrew, we talked about, you kind of had a design. Is there, you guys can sort of assess the size too, right? Like, is there a way like a design could justify it, like that we could see the design and because maybe it could be a bit smaller, it's a compromise, I guess what I'm thinking. I don't know, is there a process for that, like where a design has to kind of be approved by people who maybe don't agree with it, meet so, does that make sense?
Is there a second story to this?
No.
Or just one level for your motor home to get in?
Yeah.
And then your tractor goes in another door?
The track should go on one side and then the back side's gonna be like the barn, so it's not gonna be like a full
Barn?
barn, and any little thing.
I thought you said bar.
No.
I was at the site myself
Well,
twice.
please put your hand up.
Sorry.
Council Caputo.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. Duval, I was there twice, and I talked to Miss Roger, and I've been here in Prince now a few years, and I've been flooded out like 3 times, and I've built on the lowest part, and I know I'm in a water marshy area. I understand her plight. Water damage is not good for anybody, and we want to have a good neighborhood relationship. So maybe you two can get together and maybe with your tractor on your line where you put up that fence, can ditch, and then down to the road where it can go into the city ditch or the town line ditch, where her backyard doesn't get inundated with water all the time. She explained to me that last year on the snow, and it wasn't really that bad of a year for snow. It was like 3/4 of the way up to her garage or the back of her garage. I'm just going on what she explained to me. But I think that if we can come together and then work this out civilly, we can come to a happy understanding, because Mr. Robodge wants to be a good neighbor. And I'm sure Mr. Robson wants to be a good neighbor as well. And we don't want to see, like, your grade is high. I know you probably did it all to spec and everything, because it has to, or else it wouldn't pass, right? But in consideration of your neighbors, I think that maybe we can come to a compromise and figure out a way of directing or diverting water from her backyard somewhere else.
It's not it's not just her neighbor, it's the ones going down.
Yeah, he didn't come.
All along there, the water's all running in front of their properties too. It's not just the one house, it's all of them.
Which houses are those?
All the down towards Wagner's,
I'm pretty sure if you called Wagner or Scott,
I know, I'm not,
they would be more than thrilled of what's has changed in their property this year. I have, like I said, I brought a form stating for all the chutes of how the water falls from the corner right to the ditch, and then from that corner to the far corner, right to the back. I brought it in last year. I'm pretty sure I have a copy still at home.
but we still have one neighbor then, thought it, and we,
If the water is going from the back of his house down and then sloping towards our property, where is this ditch that he's putting the water in?
It's a
Because there's
swale.
no ditch over there.
It's a swale that runs the
It's
whole.
not a swale.
okay. Council, Colombo, do you want to comment on this?
Yes, I would, please. I'd like the residents to know who have concerns. I can appreciate where you're coming from in terms of the size of this building. We have an official planner that works for the township and is licensed to give us advice as to whether a yay or nay to a variance. Now, again, I do understand and appreciate where you're coming from in regard to the size of this building, but council is faced with another dilemma in regards to having to say no to this variance. A few years back, and I apologize, I don't have the information in front of me, we had the same type of variance come to council, and we declined the resident in terms of allowing him to construct his shop or garage. That resident at the time went to the OMB, the Ontario Municipal Board, and the Ontario Municipal Board came back to council stating that it is looked at as a minor variance. The reason that we were given that is looked at as a minor variance is because the size of the land that the gentleman owned would allow to build, I think at the time he said 4 to 5 different garages. Or shops or buildings. So in their eyes, in terms of their eyes, meaning the Ontario Municipal Board's eyes, it would make no sense to have a resident build 4 or 5 buildings when they can build the one. So for us to decline this variance today, I believe our hands are strapped and tied because Andrew would be able to take this to the OMB. I think they've changed their name now. I don't have their new name in front of us. And it would come back to us as being a minor variance. And again, we must respect the fact that we have an official planner who has also advised us that it is looked at as a minor variance.
Okay. Council Chambers?
Just the one comment, when you were here 2 years ago in 2020, and then we had mentioned to talk to your neighbors because she was concerned.
And they didn't.
Oh, okay, but I'm going to move forward something.
The bylaw,
Like Mr. Caputo just said, if we could,
the bylaw officer stopped by, as well as my father-in-law. They both went over to her house last year. And as with this sheet of paper. And we're back here square. So my hands, I try as much as I can.
but we can't do a ditch with your tractor. I'm just saying.
If you want to stop by, I will show you the swale and everything. I'll get my phone off, hands it off, and I'll show you. Like it's there. I don't know what.
But we're still hearing this an issue. That's where I have it in my head, right? After 2 years, we still have your neighbor saying that water is being drained onto her property.
And it is.
Can't you look at it? Because I went there and there's.
Where's her water coming from? Where's it going?
I never had water in my backyard until he built up his lot.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, concerns too, running an extra ditch from his property into the township main ditch downtown line. We already have big enough water problems that's coming from whether it's culvert sizes, which is not adequate enough. We get flooding there all the time, like my ditch or my drive's been washed out 7, 8 times over the last 15 years I've been there. And it gets worse as it goes down, and usually you get to Fraser's corner and he's got water all coming all the way up. So putting just adding another ditch and drainage into it is not gonna fix everybody. It's not gonna help anybody down as well. There needs to be something that needs to be really well thought out and planned, and getting that water to the back creek or something.
Yeah, can you look at that?
Can't go
So
forward.
my front yard, just at the front to the ditch, the rest from that corner goes over to the Wagners and then down to the back property.
Back property.
So it doesn't, but I have pictures of when I first moved there, and I literally have a river running down my property.
I have a question. Sorry, I have a question, please.
Go ahead, one question. Go ahead, Councilor.
I've listened to discussion regarding ditches and swelling and so on and so forth. Have the Conservation Authority been involved with the ditching and so on and so forth, considering the fact that the subject property is located in an area under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Authority?
Probably not.
That is very important to take into consideration whenever doing any kind of dredging within a Conservation Authority area. And I would strongly advise that a call be made to the Conservation Authority. And I'm suggesting this because I've been on the Conservation Authority for a period of 7 years. And you could be creating a serious dilemma here without their input.
Okay. Councilor Caputo, before we move on. Councilor Caputo?
I'm good, that's it, like saying.
Okay, only my concern is that it is a way above the minor variance. Okay, you heard the resolution, you want to read it again?
Well, I'd like clarification on Mr. Colombo, whether we can have Conservation Authority take a look at it before we pass this.
We can fold them up anytime, Tom, looking at the water problem, I was on there too, so. No, we can ask them to look at the water problems. Cause you had to take a permit out too, didn't you?
Through them for my house?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's further down that I don't have an issue with my house. when
Yeah.
I was there last.
But the permit was there, so they can go revisit it. Okay, nothing, nobody else? You want to read the resolution again, please, Craig?
Be it resolved that this council approves the minor variance application M1 2022, allowing for a larger garage for personal use only.
All in favor?
Aye.
We can have are you having the conservation look at it?
Probably, but no,
Okay,
that's not nothing to do with the garage.
okay,
All in favor?
okay.
Aye.
Carried. Okay,
We're good?
yeah. So,
So, next question, just with the drainage thing, is there a timeline when that's gonna get addressed? Does it sound like-
that'll be addressed, we'll get the office to call the conservation authority to come look at it.
ASAP.
Yeah, okay, I feel like, yeah, it's not.
It's that time of year, right?
Well, yeah,
And possibility of 60 millimeters of rain in the next 2 days.
Yeah, no, they'll be asked to look at it.
actually, this is a question, the drainage that you're living in drainage district, it doesn't directly affect you negatively right now. I've back on this property from second line. But I'd like to be involved just with the conservation authority. Because if for doing drainage, it changes the way it flows home into my property, I want to know either way, so I guess I just want to be in the loop on that.
Okay, we'll get them to give us a report, I guess.
May I add to that?
What's that? Councilor
Yeah.
Colombo?
Yes, may I please add to that? Excuse me, the resident has the right to contact the Conservation Authority if he or she has the concern.
Okay. Okay, bylaw. Decision for number 8A, I guess that's already there, so, okay, bylaw DSAB contract on early on, to be passed or renewed for the, or ask legal opinion. One way or not. I guess, need a mover on this,
I'll move it.
Council Plumble, second, Council Chambers.
That to approve the bylaw or to refer to legal?
Approve the bylaw.
To approve the
Oh,
bylaw?
I was gonna, before we vote on this, I wanted to suggest it goes to, it was never read by our lawyer to make sure it's reforming for the best interest of council or the township. That's why I requested that the lawyer look at it. Because our lawyer has never, ever seen this agreement. So they might have seen it, but never reported by the, it's up to council. I'm not looking to not sign it. I thought they should at least look at it. Opinion?
I thought they had looked at it last year
No. They looked,
when we went through this.
when we were looking at, Ben,
I thought they looked at it last year when we went through this.
yeah, then I don't have any comment on it. Council Fumble?
As Councillor Chambers has mentioned, they have looked at this contract. And the other thing we should take into consideration is the fact that this contract is a standard contract that is used amongst Ontarians whenever dealing with any type of incentives coming from the Ontario government, because it's the funding does come through the Ontario government. So I don't see any reason why we should be spending money on a solicitor reviewing the same contract that's been in place since we've had early on established in Prince Township.
I just brought it up just to make sure we're covered, but I'm okay with council's decision.
Mr. Mayor, I support Mr. Palumbo's recommendation. I was not a member of council at that time, but I take my learned padres here as word, and I stand with them on this.
Yeah, okay.
As far as saving money.
Signing the contract, that's the resolution we're doing.
Then I would have the resolution be it resolved that this council hereby adopts bylaw 2022-05, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with the DSAB regarding the early on contract.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. No notice of motion, correspond. I have
Your work,
one that,
I had one more
Go ahead.
bylaw with the DSAB childcare contract.
okay. I need a mover.
I'll move that.
Council Caputo. Seconded by Council Colombo.
Be it resolved that this council hereby adopts bylaw 2206, being a bylaw to enter into the agreement with the DSAB regarding the child care contract.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, I don't, before we move into notice of motion or correspondence, resolution for the benefits for Paseo. We need a
I don't do resolutions or.
I sent you an email. We need a resolution for council to, once the time runs out on the wages, we have to cancel the benefits. Council needs a resolution.
I believe the interim clerk answered that,
What's
saying
that?
that, I believe that the interim clerk had answered that email, saying that the benefits, you just called them in to our provider saying that that person is no longer with us and they cease.
Is that right, Craig? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah,
That we-
unless there's another agreement that alters it, once the person leaves the employee, the benefits stop.
Oh, it's on this one, on the one of the letters we got from the lawyer requesting council to pass a resolution. But if we don't need it,
I didn't see that letter. I just had your email. I didn't realize it was a direction coming from from a lawyer. I didn't see that email.
no, one of the letters council received.
Well, I
But-
couldn't put forward a resolution based on an email from you. I should have had a copy of the letter so that I would know what I was dealing with. I didn't do up a resolution for it, but I did contact the Benefits by Design to say that she was no longer employed.
Okay, okay, as long as we don't need a resolution, I'm okay. Okay, of course,
Question, Mr. Mayor, from you to Peggy. Ms. Greco, if the end of her date of hire or work here is ended, does her benefits continue to the end of that month or that day it ends?
Well,
I'm
sorry.
but
They-
I had that if you want, or you can go.
My understanding is that as long as she's getting a check, she's having the deductions for the benefits taken off of her check. So it would carry on until her checks are done, but they'll be done soon, so.
Yeah, that, it's from whatever council authorized for the weeks to pay, then once that's done, the benefits are done.
So her last DOH, date of hire to the date of term is over?
This shouldn't really be a discussion in open council as far as I'm concerned.
Sorry,
Okay,
I'll bring that up again.
okay. Correspondence? This, what's this? MMA COVID deployment measure. You have a resolution on that one?
Yep. Well, for 11A to C all in one resolution.
Okay, mover,
Was that,
Council Chambers, second, Council Poodle,
Be resolved that council hereby accepts items 11A to C as information.
all in favor?
I,
Carried. No. Okay. No minutes from the boards, proposed marina fees. Need a mover? Council Chambers, seconder, Council Humble,
Be it resolved that this council hereby accept the proposed marina fees and policy for review, bylaw to be presented at the May 2022 meeting.
I just had them. Oh, the fees, I just had the fees.
Policies.
Hmm?
It's at the back of your policy.
This here? Oh. Okay.
Last page. Page 12. There you go.
Okay, I guess Peggy's the one that got you seen the fees in the back of the thing? On, where was-
Page 12 of the policy.
Yeah, page 12 of the policy. You find it, Council Palumbo?
Yes.
Any questions? Anybody got any questions on this?
They look as we've discussed them.
Yeah. Council Palumbo,
I have no comment.
Council Caputo,
I'm good.
Council Chambers? You got a resolution?
Moved by Councillor Chambers, second by Councillor Palumbo. Be it resolved that this council hereby accept the proposed marina fees and policy for review with the bylaw to be presented at the May 2022 meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. You probably want to know the fees, eh?
Yeah, what little fees. Important. I also want to know how you're going to handle the people that have been there, adopting the votes. And how
Yeah. If we have, we have to sit down, we don't know, we don't have a lockmaster. It has to be collected from the office. We'll have to put a newsletter in the newsletter, telling the residents the fees coming up. And I guess they'll have to get a hold of the office.
I've provided a list of the people that have been docking there for several years. And I would assume that they would be first in place to have dock space.
That was talked about, yes, they would be at first choice. Can you give the office that list?
Yes, I have a copy with me, but I also gave a copy by email to you back in, well, I think it was February.
Okay, and then when our newsletter comes out, the fees will be in there if you want now.
Yeah, well, that's fine now. I wouldn't mind.
I couldn't give you the whole piece because I need it for the. I need it for the next.
Sir, can I get
And
your
if you
name?
want that list then of the people, I did provide it to Lorraine, by email. And it's a list of the people that have been there. The list isn't totally complete, because I didn't contact, I think, 2 people. The people on this list have been contacted by me, and I gave their contact information. Okay.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
have these people.
Oh, okay.
And can I grab your name?
Lawrence Majoron.
Thanks, Lawrence. Did we pass that? Did we pass that resolution?
Yes, yes, your worship.
Thank you.
We're on to 13B.
13B, leapfrog information. A mover. Council Chambers, Council Caputo,
Just reading it right now, but I missed the change.
Council Caputo, seconder.
Be it resolved that this council hereby approves sending the requested letter of concurrence to Leapfrog.
Any questions? No questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Town conference. Because of COVID, and I guess we should have a mover and a seconder because it's on there. You got a mover,
I'll move that.
seconder? Council Caputo,
That's for Phenom, right?
Yes.
resolution.
Be it resolved that this council agrees to send the following member to the Phenom Conference in May. I don't have a name.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to go, but because of COVID and everything this year, maybe it wouldn't be a good idea. So I don't think any council member should go this year. Any objections on that?
I agree.
Councilor Caputo?
Isn't that the big convention for all mayors and
Yeah.
CAOs of municipalities?
Yeah.
With all the new and upcoming and all
Yeah,
this governmental stuff coming up?
yeah,
I thought that you and,
I always went.
yeah, I thought you and Marilyn were going. I thought we
No.
voted on that already.
No,
No?
we talked about, we never did,
Okay.
no. So I guess.
If we don't have a name and the mover and seconder are in agreement, they could withdraw the resolution.
Okay, just withdraw it. NOHSC Community Enhancement Program, rural fire hall painting. Mover? Mover, Council Plumble, seconder, Council Chambers.
Be it resolved that this council hereby approves the application to NOHFC for the cost of the repairs and painting to the interior of the fire hall, an estimated amount of $9,500. Further, be it resolved that council accepts the financial commitment to this project and will cover any cost overruns. And further, this council confirms that the fire hall belongs to the corporation of the Township of Prince.
Peggy, the questions they asked, are you able to answer them?
I believe so.
Okay. Any questions on this is the grant we're applying for.
Yeah.
So all in favor?
It's way better than the 8,000.
Carried.
Glad I could answer your questions.
Think over your head's good enough. Resident support Holden Hill Corner on a new gravel mining application. You got a mover? No mover, no seconder. Any old business? Okay, we go into closed session. Mover?
I'll move that.
Council Caputo, seconded by Council Colombo.
Be it resolved that this council proceeds into closed session at 8:19 PM to consider the following subject matter in accordance with the Municipal Act. A, personal matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees regarding the staff letter. And B, media training under Section 39A of the Municipal Act. Further, be it resolved that should the closed session be adjourned, council may reconvene in closed session to continue to discuss the same matters without the need for a further authorizing resolution.
All in favor?
Right.
Carried.
Mr. Mayor, before I get over, could you please get the name of the gentleman acting as clerk?
Craig.
David.
Davidson.
Craig Davidson?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like myself and Leanne to stay?
What's that?
I said, would you like Leanne and myself to stay? I think we're both familiar with what the training is going to be, and it might be beneficial for us to have a second year on it.
No, because just the clerk.
Okay.
And you back says no.
So when you're finished with the closed session, make sure someone gets Leanne back to put anybody that's in the waiting room back into the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I see that Mr. Matthews or Councillor Matthews, I see him on Zoom here. Is he a part of this meeting or was he
No.
not?
He's not part of the meeting. He can look, listen, but he's not part of the meeting.
He'll be put in the meeting room as well.
So when you declare a conflict, you can listen to the meeting, but you can't participate.
You could listen via Zoom, in person, no, because you can't affect the vote,
Okay.
you know,
Well,
either
that's
before,
interesting.
during, or after. So that's why, there would be different rules for electronic, like he's not, yeah, he could probably be saying like a text message and that, but you know, you have to put the trust somewhere, but he's not participating in the discussion. He's not giving visual cues, so he's not providing any pressure.
Yeah, I'm not complaining that he is. I'm just asking if, I'm learning in terms of this conflict. provision.
Right now, we can't, for own personal use, we can't do.
Okay, and
Is it normal, like a 5-minute break at this point?
Sounds good.
Okay, I know
Sure,
somebody.
we can do
is
that.
in
I'm
different room.
gonna stop recording.
so nobody has to obey the violence.
Where's Margaret?
Everybody else left.
An hour and a half. What's that, Hal? Hal. Yeah, Hal, yeah. Oh, Hal. No, yeah, oh. Okay, so we need a
I make a motion to adjourn.
no, we need a
Oh, sorry.
what do you need a resolution to adjourn now? Or you need a?
Confirmatory bylaw?
Yeah, do I need a mover?
Yeah.
Council Chambers, second first, and Council Caputo, second.
Be it resolved that this council hereby adopts bylaw 2022-07, being a bylaw to adopt, ratify, and confirm the actions of council on April 12th, 2022.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Mover, to close. Mover, Council Colombo, and second by Councilor Caputo.
Be resolved that this council hereby adjourns at 9:27 p.m.
All in favor?
Aye.
Until the call
Aye.
chair.
And you have to come in the office. Okay, you have to come in the office to sign this minor variance thing.
Okay.
Thanks, great.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Davidson. Well done. And just come to this side, what?